الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. One of the most significant events in the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was the hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam from Mecca to Medina. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam migrated from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwarah, there were many people that came to welcome Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Among those, there were those Muslims who had accepted Islam at the hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam during Hajj. There were those Jews who had resided in Medina Munawwarah. They had also come to welcome Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, hoping that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam may also be from Bani Israel. And there were others as well who came to welcome the last prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Among the Jews, there was a chief rabbi of Medina, Abdullah bin Salam radiyallahu anhu, who had also come to witness Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He had learned different signs to verify whether or not Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a true prophet. So, to verify those signs, when he came to welcome Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as soon as he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says that the iman entered my heart. فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنْتُ وَجْهَهُ رَأَيْتُ أَنَّ وَجْهَهُ لَيْسَ بِوَجْهِ كَاذِبٍ. That as soon as I saw the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I concluded that this is not the face of a liar. The mere presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was da'wah. The mere looking at Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would attract people to accept Islam, to fall in love with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And on that occasion, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says a small hadith which becomes a means of Abdullah bin Salam radiyallahu anhu accepting Islam, to the extent that this is very same hadith which is known as the hadith of Abdullah bin Salam. It is attributed to Abdullah bin Salam radiyallahu anhu since he is the one who narrates the hadith. This is the hadith of Salam because it speaks about Salam. On the momentous occasion of Hijrah, where there are so many who yet to become Muslim have gathered to see what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has to say. Here, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is laying the foundation of the new prophetic community, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam starts his words, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, afshu salam wa at'imu ta'am wa sallu bil layli wan nasu niyam tadkhulul jannata bi salam. O people, spread salam, feed people, pray at night while others are asleep. You enter the paradise, the Jannah, with peace. Here, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is saying a few words which are so comprehensive that we can definitely say that this is the summary of entire deen. Here, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has left behind the struggle in Makkah Mukarramah, and the people of Medina had invited Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to go there. Here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is laying the foundation of the sacred community of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And these are the words that are applicable to a believer, to a non-mu'min, and everyone. Therefore Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam even starts, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, instead of saying, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, O believers. Here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, Ayyuhan nas, O people, listen to the message of Islam. Listen to the message of deen. Here I'm laying the foundation of the community. What are the values upon which a community is founded? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam encourages us to follow one of the basic sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Afshu salam." Spread salam among one another. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As saying salam is one of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, salam is one of the means of bringing love between one another. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Al-badi'u bis-salam bari'um min al-kibar." The one who initiates saying salam is free of kibr. That kibr that brings about despise in one's eye for his brother or sister. That kibr that brings about hatred and illness in one's heart. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioning a remedy for that here. That by saying salam, by initiating salam, one's heart will be free of kibr, which will bring about respect and harmony for one another. And that is how the community is founded. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in another hadith, "La tadkhulul jannata hatta tu'minu." You will not become true believers. You will not enter Jannah until you become true believers. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى تَحَابَبْتُمْ. And you will not become true believers until you love one another. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Shall I not tell you of something that if you were to do that, you will begin to love one another?" أَفْشُوا السَّلَامَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Spread salam amongst one another. Salam is something that serves as one of the prerequisites of Iman. Helps a person create love for other mu'mineen, which in turn allows a person to bring the quality of Iman. And insha'Allah, it will lead a person to enter the Darus Salam, the abode of eternal peace, set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And having this quality, what is salam implied? What salam implies? When we say assalamu alaikum, just like how it is a dua, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us in a hadith, that whoever says assalamu alaikum to his brother, he gets 10 reward. At the same time, when we are saying salam, we are implying and we are guaranteeing our brother that you are free of any harm that is caused to you by me. Subhanallah. One of the scholars, Imam al-Qaysari, he says that when you say assalamu alaikum, you are telling your brother or your sister, salimta minni an adiyaka aw adurraka, that you are free of my harm. Now I'm ensuring that no harm will come to you from my internal, from my external. Just from my external, just like how I will not hurt you physically, from my internal as well, I will not hurt you in any way, shape or form possible. That is when the true love comes for a mu'min, for a believer, and that is one of the prerequisites to enter the fold of Iman, true Iman, and enter Jannah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. The one who rectifies himself is the one who has truly succeeded. Here, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is showing us those values, core values on which the community should be founded. It begins with ensuring that each and every single member of the community has love for one another. And by having that love and ensuring that no one is hurt, it will bring about harmony in the community. After having that first prerequisite, first piece of advice that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions here, now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants us to go above and beyond. He says, وَأَطْعِمُوا الطَّعَامِ. Feed one another. Sometimes we just restrict our deen to our individual ibadat. But in reality, deen is not only about individual ibadat only. It is also about the akhlaq. Just like how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching us that make sure no one is hurt by you. Now you go above and beyond that, you become a means of comfort for one another. You become a means of bringing joy and happiness to someone else as well. So feed people. This was the quality that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam inculcated in Sahaba, to the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals an ayah, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ, describing the quality of Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'een, that they prefer others over themselves despite the fact that they may be in need of that thing. Once a guest came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam sent a messenger to his families to see if there is someone to host this guest. He comes back from 3 different houses that, "Oh Prophet of Allah, there is nothing but water." Subhanallah. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, who will host this guest of Allah and His Rasul? One of the Sahaba, Abu Talha radiallahu anhu, says that, "O Prophet of Allah, I will host your guest today." And he goes home with this guest. He addresses his wife that, "I have brought a guest of Allah and His Rasul to our house." The wife says, "There is no food for ourselves. There was little food for the kids, and that's all we have." This Sahabi, Abu Talha radiallahu anhu, says that, "Me and you can survive without food. You let the kids go to sleep, because this is the guest of Allah and His Rasul. And when I serve food to him, you turn off the lights. So I will pretend that I'm eating. There is no food to eat except a little bit that can suffice for that guest." And this is how he hosted the guest of Allah and His Rasul. Next morning, he goes to the majlis of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says that Allah very much loved your hospitality last night. Subhanallah. He is also confused that, what did I do so special? The Sahaba, despite doing so much for deen, despite sacrificing everything, they would belittle their actions, because they would look at the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon them, and they would always be in the state of gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they would always regard themselves to be falling short in having the amount of shukr towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a Sahabi hosted the guest of Allah and His Rasul in such a manner that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed an entire ayah about them. This was just one incident. There are many incidents in the stories of Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'een that we find that this was a quality that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had inculcated in all of the Sahaba, that they would go above and beyond to become a means of comfort for one another. Today, at times we restrict our ibadat to our prayers. Dear friends, our ibadat are not only our prayers. Deen is not only about ibadat. Deen is also about akhlaq. In fact, the weightiest action in the scale on the Day of Judgment is the akhlaq. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a hadith. And the worst thing that will take people towards the fire of Jahannam is the lack of akhlaq. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressed the Sahaba once, and he asked, "Manil muflis?" "O Sahaba, tell me, who is bankrupt person?" Sahaba replied, "Allahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam." Allah and His Messenger know the best. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the true muflis, the true bankrupt person, is the one who will come with loads of ibadat on the Day of Judgment. However, shatama hadha, he may have cursed someone, he may have hurt someone. So all of these people that he has hurt, they will all line up before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will demand their right on that day. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have the angels give His good deeds to those people that He has oppressed in this life, because the only currency that work over there are the a'mal. So one by one, He will have to pay them back using His a'mal. And when His a'mal are depleted, come to an end, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say that now put their sin on him. Subhanallah. He came as having loads of ibadat, and now, Allah forbid, will be going as loads of sins in the fire of Jahannam. This is the effect of a'mal, effect of akhlaq that akhlaq has on a person. Subhanallah. Here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is describing such a person to be the true bankrupt. And after fixing one's akhlaq, after ensuring that a person is making sure that he has the excellent akhlaq. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, that's not enough. You still have to have good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, what is that salient feature that brings about harmony in the community? وَصَلُّوا بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ. That pray at night while others are sleeping. And when a person does all of these three actions, then a person enters the eternal abode of peace. Subhanallah. And by mentioning tahajjud, qiyamul layl in the hadith, the other fara'id are already included by default. Therefore, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentions the peak of those ibadat, which is tahajjud. That have habit of praying tahajjud and have create such a bond and ta'alluq with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, show the utmost sincerity and ikhlas to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is only found in one of those ibadat, that is tahajjud. And when a person does these three actions, then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, تَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةَ بِسَلَامٍ. You enter the abode of as-salam with peace. Subhanallah. When having the quality of spreading salam in this world, when we spread salam in this world, we enter the abode of as-salam, and we hear the salam of as-salam in Darus Salam. Subhanallah. Because what is one of the greatest what is one of the greatest blessings given to the people of Jannah? Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. One of the greatest blessings that will be bestowed upon the people of Jannah is mentioned in the Quran, that they will hear greetings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we ensure that we greet one another, when we ensure that we become a means of peace for one another, then we get the greetings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. When we spread salam in this world, we get the salam of as-salam in the Darus Salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq. And these are the moral values upon which a community is founded. And each and every single community should replicate the values that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam set for the prophetic community of Medina Munawwara. These are there for us to bring about in each and every single community. And when we have these values inculcated in us, then our communities will also become just like how the community of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Medina Munawwara, that a Sahabi is brought as a prisoner and he's tied to one of the pillars in Masjidun Nabawi, ala sahibihi as-salatu was-salam, and no Sahabi goes to him to give any da'wah. Thumamah ibn Uthal radiyallahu anhu, he just sees the interactions of Sahaba radiyallahu anhu majma'in between one another, and 3 days passed by. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam orders his Sahaba to free him. Thumamah ibn Uthal radiyallahu anhu goes outside Medina, accepts Islam and comes back. Subhanallah. How were the akhlaq of Sahaba radiyallahu anhu majma'in, that without saying a word of da'wah, of invitation towards Islam, people are accepting Islam. This happens when we bring about those values that are taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just like how it is mentioned in this hadith, one of the first khutbah, one of the first speeches of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he entered Medina Munawwara. And this is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam laid the foundation of a prophetic community. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq and grant us all the tawfiq to bring that salient features in our community as well, this Darus Salam. And inshallah we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant us the tawfiq to enter the Darus Salam in eternal Jannah. Ameen wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Please stand up and move up, fill up all the gaps before you start your sunnah. Please move up, fill up all the gaps before you start your sunnah. Jazakumullahu Khairun. Just a few announcements. Please pass the donation boxes from left to right and donate generously. Sadaqah wars of calamities and draws the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says in a hadith, charity given during the day of Jumu'ah is greater reward than any other day. Please pass the donation boxes from left to right. An evening with Mufti Tariq Masood, Saturday, April 27th, after Maghrib at Masjid Darus Salam, pending any disruption in his travel plan. Save the date for our annual retreat, Islam and Artificial Intelligence, Navigating New Frontiers in the Modern World, Friday, May 10th to Sunday, May 12th. Register at masjidds.org/retreat 2024. Many Muslims nurture your little ones' love for the deen in a welcoming space by joining our fun-filled session for moms and kids every Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., ages 0 to 5, Sister Side Banquet Hall, lower level seminary building. Summer programs. Darus Salam offers summer programs for the entire family. We know that there are many of you who are eager to taste the sweetness of Islamic knowledge, but do not have the opportunity to do so on a full-time basis. That's why we strive to provide a variety of courses that fit your schedule. Tamheez Summer Arabic for young adults and older brothers and sisters 14 plus. Quran, Islamic Studies and Sports Camp for kids, boys and girls 6 to 13. Tarbiyah for tots, kids and youth, boys and girls 4 to 5. Register at masjidds.org/summer. Join us for our weekly programs. Team Fajr will resume tomorrow. Fajr Iqamah is at 5:15 a.m. Tuesday Tafsir will continue after Maghrib Salah. We will continue Suratul Mumtahina. Weekly Salawat and Khatira every Thursday after Maghrib Salah. The University of Chicago MSA presents annual Qur'an night, a benefit recitation for Gaza. Speakers and Qurra, Sheikh Hassan Saleh, Sheikh Hassan Kasi, Qadi Adib Bari, Qadi Abrar Jamaluddin, Tafsir by Mufti Minhajuddin Ahmad, Saturday, May 4th at 4 p.m., Rockefeller Memorial Chapel. Dua request, please make dua for the Palestine Muslims. Tanwir Zaman is suffering from cancer. Please make dua for him.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كلامه المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أيها الناس أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام وصلوا بالليل والناس نيام تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بما فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر رؤوف رحيم ورب حليم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كلامه المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين. وقال الله سبحانه وتعالى إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واعتدلوا. Please have your heels on the line. Do not leave any gaps in between. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.